Does it feel like everyone needs a piece of you? Like maybe that line from that movie, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're the only one who can." By the way, bonus points if you know what movie that line comes from. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you know the movie, but don't give it away. Let's keep this interesting. But when you are a highly capable woman, people don't just appreciate you, they begin to rely on you. And they rely on you saying yes often and to everything. And over time, what started like being helpful starts to feel like responsibility. And we can get trapped in that responsibility and our own values and our own future. And the thing that we feel most called to do can start to suffer as a result. In fact, sometimes we don't even let ourselves know what that is. And so, this is why I wanted to create a video of when everyone needs a piece of you, the difference between the time rich and the time poor woman. And I'm going to share three key differences, but it all comes down to this. We are saying yes, either from pressure or from peace. Okay. So remember this. Maybe you're not Obi-Wan Kenobi, the only hope they have, and maybe not every request is a Princess Leia urgent moment level of importance. So, the difference between the time poor woman and the time rich woman isn't in how much they care because they both care deeply. When somebody asks them or makes a request of them, it doesn't require caring less to say yes or no with wisdom. It requires deciding differently. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So today I'll show you the three differences between how time poor women say yes and how time rich women do. Ready? All right. Number one. So the time poor woman says yes from the urgency of the request. So it sounds like, "Oh, you're the best at doing this." Or you think to yourself, oh, they really need me. Or sometimes something as simple as, "It would just be faster if I did it." I've thought that so many times. And then I get trapped in doing tasks over and over and over again that seem faster in the moment, but take up a lot more time in the long run. Whereas the time-rich yes, those align with our values and our future vision. So the time rich yes is asking, does this fit who I am becoming? Or does this reinforce the life that I am designing? We're thinking ahead. If you're a parent, it looks like this. Do they need me to do it for them or to show them how? Even if it seems like it would be faster on the one, in the long run, it's faster on the second. So we've got to remember, like, even in our parenting, what are we really called to do? To keep on meeting our children's needs or to help them mature into people who can meet their own needs? It's hard. It requires patience, but it's the higher work. All right, so here's the key truth to remember. Capability is not obligation, and being good at something is not actually a calling. So, just because you can doesn't mean that you're meant to. When somebody comes to you with a request, just because you can does not mean that you're meant to. Are you feeling pressure to respond from urgency? Or can you take a pause and ask, does this align with my values or my future vision? All right, number two, the second key difference. Know this, that a wise no is often more powerful than a yes. So the time poor pattern is this. She says yes to relieve the pressure. which creates dependence and sometimes also leads to resentment later. It creates a pattern of dependence that fuels quiet resentment. And we've all, I'm sure, have been there. I'm not judging you. I'm saying I identify with it, but that the pressure feels like just go ahead and say yes. But here's what the time rich woman knows and reminds herself that sometimes saying no can be even more powerful than a yes. That sometimes saying no is an act of example or of mentorship or of leadership, and that a no can protect her peace and also promote someone else's growth. And so we don't rush to the easy yes if there is a powerful no to be said in that moment. We become the person that can say no powerfully and peacefully, knowing that sometimes a no is better than a yes. So understand this, the no is not rejection. Sometimes no is actually a redirection. Some of the most loving leadership sounds like no. Oh, this is hard for the people pleasers in us. But it is a necessary growth step for the time rich future in us, for the time rich life that we are moving towards, for the time rich identity that we are stepping into. So that's number two, understanding that no is sometimes even more powerful than the yes, and then living from that. And then number three, sometimes our highest leverage yes is to share our wisdom instead of our labor. So the time poor yes often looks like we'll just do it for them and get it done with. And the problem with that is it creates that we become the bottleneck in the other person's life because we're doing it for them. They never learn to do it for themselves. And then it trains others to rely upon our availability. We've all seen this. We couldn't get anything done until you got home, mom, or I didn't know what to do until you said this. And that's what that bottleneck looks like. I had a mentor that really pointed this out to me in the last year. She said to me, April, I think it's time for you to step out of your husband's business. And she said it so strongly that I paused and asked myself, am I, what's the truth here? Where am I still in my husband's business? I thought I had stepped out. And I realized, oh, I still think that I have to do his numbers for him. Y'all, you have to understand, I went and studied taxes so that I would understand better how numbers work for entrepreneurs and how to maximize growth. And so it was very, very hard for me to step back out of it. But I asked the question, what if I'm the bottleneck here? And so I did. I stepped out and he did his numbers the way that he would have done his numbers. He asked the questions the way that he would have asked the questions. And the most fascinating thing happened. At the end of the year, I had never looked at his numbers, not even once, never helped him, not even once. He tracked his profit or loss in the manner that he would have done it. After the whole year was ended, at the beginning of this year, I tracked the numbers the way the IRS desires for them to be tracked. And two things I realized. One, he grew faster than he has ever grown any year previously. It was amazing. Number two, he hit the impossible goal that he had set for himself. And number three, his handwritten way of tracking and the QuickBooks approved version of tracking profit and loss at the end of the day, those numbers matched almost exactly. And so I had always been trying to convince him to, hey, you need to think in these categories. But when we just let that go, as in he did it his way, he thought in his categories, and then I just downloaded the receipts from his accounts and then recategorized them for tax purposes. His way was superior because his way was better for him, because his way allowed him to identify his own bottlenecks for growth. So I was the bottleneck to his understanding his own business, if that makes sense. It's crazy. But sometimes our highest leverage, yes, is to share our wisdom, not our labor. So time poor mentality has us keep on doing it for others, which makes us the bottleneck and then trains others to rely upon our availability. But the time rich yes shares insight or teaches a skill or she steps back unless there is a true desire from her to stay involved. So the key distinction is this: doing will create faster relief, but teaching and handing responsibility over or letting go will create time richness. So remember this: the time rich woman shares wisdom, teaches the skill, and stops doing it for others unless you genuinely desire to. That has really changed my life in multiple areas. I had done that for my children. I trained myself to listen, I've got to stop seeing them as children and start seeing them as humans that it's my responsibility to train into mature adults. I had to stop sourcing my worth from being needed by others. And that's hard. It really is. But it's so worth it. So here's a few things to remember. Number one, pressure decisions feel urgent, but peaceful decisions feel calm yet powerful. The pressure decisions keeps on reinforcing the identity that we're the reliable one, that we're the capable one, that we're the fixer, the savior, the one who swoops in and saves the day. But the other one will reinforce our time rich woman identity. So, this is very important. The time poor woman will keep on living as though everyone needs a piece of her. But the time rich woman understands something very different. Everyone doesn't need a piece of me, but everyone needs a piece. That is the reframe. That will have you saying yes from peace rather than pressure. That will have you saying yes from your values and your future vision rather from the urgency of the request. That will have questioning, would a no be more powerful than a yes in this situation? And then we'll finally have you sharing your wisdom instead of merely sharing your labor all the time. So the time rich woman is willing to share her piece and then willing to live, love, and lead by example rather than through constant effort. So maybe if you've been feeling exhausted, maybe it's not because you care too much, but it's because you've been deciding under pressure. And from pressure, been saying yes too much. And if you would like, I have a simple tool that will give you even more confidence in when it's best to say yes or no. It's called my 1 minute decision filter, and it's three simple questions that will have you saying the best yeses for your life. You can go to aprilbragg.com/decide to download that. And if this has helped you, you might want to subscribe to the channel. My name is April Bragg, and I am the Time Rich Woman Coach. I help women create more time in their life and business, not from doing more, but from getting clarity on what matters most and then focusing only on those things. And remember this one final word: time is your most valuable asset to invest in a way that blesses you and benefit others. Bye bye.